So I think I can safely assume that everybody knows Cayden is a Jersey Mike's sandwich artist. But if that is the only way we describe Cayden, that would really only skim the surface. All right, I've only known Cayden this year, but I've learned that he brings energy and care into everything he does. And I think that Cayden's former advisor, Mr. Bright, put it perfectly when he told me that Cayden is an all things to all people kind of person. He moves seamlessly among a variety of folks in the school community. He also, interestingly enough, happens to have an uncanny hidden talent for eating Benny's pizza, apparently, which I wasn't aware of. Mr. Bright also shared a sentiment about Cayden that I witnessed on more than one occasion on dorm. And he told me that during RA duty evenings, most counselors kind of simply sit, do their work, really don't get up much or are active. It's not an indictment on counselors, okay? But not with Cayden. Cayden makes an active choice to be active. All right, he walks around, he talks to people, he's in people's rooms, and that's a special kind of leadership that's incredible for VES to have, okay? And that's who Cayden is. That's the Cayden I've come to know, somebody who shows up, he connects, and he makes people feel seen, whether it's on duty, at Jersey Mike's, or cracking jokes in the cafeteria. Okay, Cayden, so your ability to light up any room with humor, confidence, and your big heart are what make you special. Okay, as you move on to your next adventure, whether Benny's or Jersey Mike's are a part of that, I don't know, okay? But as you do that, the thing I do know is that you're going to keep making the world brighter, one interaction, one sub, one pizza slice at a time, okay? Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Wakefield, for your words and for being such a great advisor for the past year. I'd also like to thank Mr. Chris Bright, who is my advisor for my first 3 years at VES and who helped me adjust to the VES environment and gave me great guidance and advice. Without the two of you, I know I wouldn't be where I am today, so I'm extremely grateful. I'd also like to shout out the Bright/Wakefield advisees, past and present, because I think we do have a bond that's closer than most advisories at VES. Whenever Mr. Hanning asks for table tappers, I rarely volunteer because I really do enjoy eating lunch with y'all, and I will miss it next year. Hi everyone, my name is Cayden. My name is not Rohan, and we are not related. I think most of you know who I am, but for those of you who don't, at least now you know my name, instead of knowing me as that one really short senior. And hopefully after my counselor talk, you will have a better idea of who I am. I've gone to VES all 4 years, and I've lived in Lynchburg for all of my life in the same house. I have 1 dog, 2 cats, and unfortunately no siblings. I'm a very social person, and I enjoy being around my friends and family. I'm not athletic in any way, shape, or form, and as a result, I've only actually played 3 seasons of sports in my 12 seasons of activities at VES. But I've still fulfilled all my sports credits. To be perfectly honest, my life is simple. I'm not saying I myself am simple, because that's not true, but my life has been and is pretty uneventful. Nothing really bad has happened to me in my lifetime. Both my parents are healthy, I go to a great school, and I'll be going to college next year. I've never had to worry about where my next meal was coming from, how I was going to get home from school, or if my parents were going to be able to afford a Christmas present for me. I have my own room and bathroom, I have a car to drive, and I have a job to make my own money. My life is likely somewhat similar to yours. None of us in this chapel are exactly alike. We all have individual lives and personalities, and these differences are important. But the one thing we do all have in common is that we go to VES. VES is a place of immense privilege. Whether it is the wedding venues we rent out for our dances, or the $500 shoes, or the polo shirts and the golf simulator, this school is different from most high schools. We are afforded opportunities, given experiences, and taken places that many teenagers could only dream of. Compared to the rest of the world, we have it pretty damn good. My mother and her family first came to America in 1987 as political refugees of the Sri Lankan Civil War. Before they fled the country, my grandfather was an extremely successful businessman. At one point, he controlled roughly 1/3 of the coconut production and milling industry, one of Sri Lanka's main exports. My family lived extremely comfortably, similar in a way to how many of us at VES live now. Then, their lives were destroyed. Their house was burned, their belongings stolen, and some of their family members were killed before their eyes. This destruction and persecution was based on nothing more than their heritage, their last name, and the pigment in their skin. Just like that, they lost everything. They were forced to come to America and were granted asylum here. My grandmother worked 5 jobs in her first 2 years in America, 3 of them at the same time. My grandfather had to begin a new business, one that still exists today. They had to work hard, harder than most people will ever have to in their lifetime, to create something of a new life for themselves and their children. As I've matured, my family has told me more of our history over time. Now that I'm nearly an adult, I know most of the story. Something I struggled with was what to do with this heavy emotional information. I could see the toll that the trauma had taken on my family, but I couldn't relate to it or comfort them because my problems are so trivial when compared to the hardship they faced. So I've learned to use this history. I think about all the sacrifices that my grandparents had to make to even survive, and all the work that my parents had to do to build me the comfortable life I now have. I try not to let any opportunity go to waste and work as hard as I can to show my family that I have even a fraction of the work ethic they have. I tell you all this story not as a sob story or to brag about myself. I tell you all this story to motivate you. We focus so much on ourselves, but specifically our faults. We spend too much time thinking about one small awkward interaction, one joke no one laughed at, or one bad test grade. I myself am definitely guilty of this. Instead of focusing on these small bad moments, focus on what you can do. Focus on the opportunities that you have that VES provides and take advantage of them. In the grand scheme of things, there are billions of people who have it infinitely worse than us. Never take for granted the things you have, even if they seem insignificant. I hope that I've motivated even some of you, if you're still paying attention, to be the best version of yourself in every way. Use the resources and experiences that the school provides, and don't make stupid decisions, don't do stupid things, don't say things you shouldn't be, to squander your ability to attend school here. Hopefully, my talk has inspired you just a bit, so I hope that as you go on with your day and year and life, you rely on your gratitude as a source of strength, as I try to. Obviously, I can't give a talk about gratitude and such without a few thank yous. Thank you to the VES faculty and staff for providing us with a great education, opportunities to create positive change, and an environment in which we can succeed. I want to specifically thank any teacher that has written, "Cayden is a joy to have in class, but he frequently distracts himself and others by talking." Thank you for teaching me how to be self-aware and when to shut up. Thank you to my amazing friends, who I wish I could thank individually, but you all know who you are. Thank you for always letting me be vulnerable, for not asking questions when I randomly start crying, and for supporting me through everything, from the waiting room to where I am today. You've shaped me into the person I am, and I can't express my love for you all. And finally, thank you to my family. My grandparents, who sacrificed more than I can ever know to provide me with the life I have today. Your lessons will not ever leave me, and for that, I'm so grateful. My dad, who is my voice of reason and makes everything I do possible. My mom, who is one of the strongest and most resilient people I know, who will never stop pushing me even when I push back. Seniors, there's like 20-something days until graduation, but I don't really care at this point because I've always thought about and dreamed about doing what I'm going to do next, so bear with me. I really want to take this moment and do something important, which is teach all of you how to say my last name. After all, it is my history and my heritage and my family and quite literally who I am. My last name is pronounced Gunawardane. I'll say each syllable so you guys can all say it back. Gunawardane. Thank you.